Welcome to the Star Connection podcast with your host, Chef Demers and Viviane Chauvet. We are excited to be here with you today. We have a special edition of the podcast. We're going to re-explore what took place at the Conscious Life Expo last weekend in Los Angeles, California. And for those of you who may be unfamiliar with the Conscious Life Expo, or think of it this way, it's one of the largest cutting edge spiritual conference in North America. And there are so many people, thousands of people come every year. So imagine, just visualize this really huge hotel by the Los Angeles airport with three of activity, workshop, lectures, panels, countless of vendors spread out throughout the entire venues, and people rushing in, so to speak, to reconnect with friends or connect with our speakers or to listen or to bring in uh, downloads and so forth. So it's going to be a wonderful journey just to talk about what's happening when people comes together. I know that many more of you are eager to come back to face, connect with each other, create more.
Oh, we lost her. Here she comes.
I'm sorry.
We lost her for a few minutes.
Okay. I didn't say anything nice for everybody. So I know the thing is that the people are eager to reconnect face to face, person with it's to beautiful gatherings, conference like the Conscious Life Expo. And what does it mean not to reconnect and to be with each other like this? So I want to welcome all of you who's going to tune in today. I'm going to have a journey about what happened at this gathering. I saw what in what sharing that happened. Plus, a lot more happened that I'm very I want to welcome right now the Orchid from Montreal. Lucy, thank you for being here. Michelle, good to see you. Antonia, hello everyone. Thank you for being with us. I'm very happy to have you and everyone joining us today. Jeff, can friend, is that correct?
Vivian, you were breaking up there towards the end there. I didn't quite hear
Okay.
you.
Are you here?
Still,
Are you
still, I am something. I don't know. I'm something.
are you here? Okay, perfect. I'm sure it's gonna perfectly change that. What about now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine now. Yes.
Alrighty. So welcome everyone. I just want to welcome Karuna also from Italy, Sicily. Wow, that's wonderful. Brigitte from Vancouver. Maria, thank you for being here. Gigi from Denmark. This is awesome. Simon with Glastonbury. Thank you for being here. Rodney, always happy to see you. Such a treat. Diane, perfect. Thank you for being here. And we have people from Sweden. That is fantastic. So, welcome again from an edition of the Infinite Star Connections. We're going to explore the Conscious Life Expo. And I think, Jeff, you also have some sharing to do with us today about the HUMO and the research that you've been doing, correct?
Yeah, I can get the people up to speed on what's going on and my latest and greatest, what's going on with that. So,
Well, let's start here because I am excited to know about this. I know people wants to know more about their star families or interdimensional beings, disclosure, feeding the energy. So you've been working very diligently with this group called the Homo, and you've learned a great deal about them. So I would say let's dive with this. What can you share?
well, okay. Well, of course, it's no big secret that that's one of my main studies, and I've been doing that since like the early '80s. But with all the documents that I've been put forth with and um, translating from French to English, Spanish to English, it is quite a lot to to um, to do that. And then I've been exposed to some documents that a lot of people really haven't seen because they've been under wraps a lot over there Spain. So um, as it turns out, I just happened to you know come across Wendell Stevens' volume third of the Contact the Planet UMO, and it was never finished. It was a bunch of his notes that he wrote. Um, some areas were scanned away. The paragraphs were partial here and there and incomplete in a lot of different things. And most of the information was unreadable. But uh, checking with my um, documents and my uh, dictionaries and stuff, I was able to recreate um, a lot of those paragraphs and finish off what he was trying to say. But I also am conscious of too that there are some things that he wasn't allowed to publish. So I have to kind of dance around those types of issues, and got the permission from the Rice University to actually continue on with that book. You really can't buy it; it is a PDF form, but you really can't read it. And so, with everything that I have, I was able to, like I said, find the missing pieces and some of the sentences. I have really good software here that can recreate a lot of the missing words just by just a little bit of the character sets. And also, I can remove a lot of the black bags and deleteds that are there to see what is behind what was marked out. So that I'm about a quarter way through. It is a lot of work, and it's very taxing too. But uh, as it turns out, as we get going, I got all these documents and everything is just it is interesting to a really small percentage of the people until you see one, and then the interest will go sky high. So in the meantime, um, I reached out to Rice University, who was like the center of all the UFO, whatever. And uh, I am going to send all my documents there, all my my dictionaries that I have developed and everything, and be working with them for the next 3 to 5 years till we can complete this whole thing. And I'll have access to a lot of those UMO documents that Wendell Stevens had. That is now there, and they have no idea what the hell to do with it. They just, well, okay, here's these documents, but it means a lot to me because it completes a lot of the things that we've been studying. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what I have been doing the past 3 weeks. So
That's incredible because I know that even through what we call the morphogenetic field of Gaia, or we call it the sentient field of Gaia, there's so much more information that's becoming available to us, and it's becoming very palpable. So the fact that you're working in conjunction with the university and the teaching of the humo, so the PDF that you talk about, Jeff, is it available right now? Can we
yeah,
have access to that?
yeah, and you could probably get it from from Amazon, but you can get it and you can look at it, but it's incomplete. And like I said, a lot of the stuff you can't even read it because it was scanned so bad that it is even hard to read. And some of the stuff was covered up and photographed and everything, but I was able to move all that stuff around. So, but you can get it, But this is just like an homage to him because this was the first book that I actually picked up was volume one, and I just want to complete his trilogy.
Well, yeah. So it's a trilogy. So there's three books or three PDFs available.
Yeah, and actually anybody that would buy that book, any of the proceeds goes to a fund that he set up to keep planting trees.
Oh,
Yeah, so I mean there's no money in it. It is just something to offer the people when the time comes that they become popular.
yes, exactly. And it's not only it serves a great charity cause, but at the same time, it really expand our horizons. And there's no secret anymore that we're coexisting in such a conscious, expanded universe with so many different intelligence, and we call them our star communities, and UMO as part of this. We're so diversified into who we are. We're multidimensional beings. And Brigitte here said that, make a good observation, that she noticed that the codes within us are becoming more available, more online, more active, and we're starting to be able to decipher more, to access that information, to start to get in tune with ancient texts, ancient wisdom, more and more. And I think that what you're doing is an example of this.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I actually find it quite interesting and kind of puzzled why nobody has even pursued this any further than Spain and France. I mean, to me, I don't know. I am a hard sell. And I don't believe everything everybody says. Whatever. Everybody's got a voice or something to do. That's totally cool. Whatever. Um, but the evidence for this stuff it's so blatant that I just don't understand why it hasn't been pushed forward. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some of the hard evidence. I'm like, damn, that's cool.
And it's really, really amazing. But I think what you mentioned, something about a higher discernment, because right now there's so much that's coming in. And there are those who come and will infiltrate certain energy. Like right now, we had an infiltration that I just released, and people, and then they're there just to create disharmony,
You're going to get
spread
that. You're going to
false
get that.
energy.
Yeah, you're
What's
going to
that?
get that. They actually had it over on Planet UMO. They have people like that too. So, whatever. You know.
Okay, I did not understand because I was talking the same time as you. Can you repeat your statement, please?
Yeah, they actually have the same type of people over on UMO too. I mean, they got disruptors and stuff over there. So that's pretty common. That's you're going to run into that.
Well, this is why high discernment is very important. And let me tell you, even when you go to spiritual gathering or UFO conferences or anything like that, utilizing your high discernment, stay always centered in your field, connect with your vibration, stay in alignment with who you are. Because to sideways into the Conscious Life Expo, that I was a speaker, I was a keynote speaker this year on the 2024 edition. So it was a last weekend, meaning February 9 to the 12th. And so we were in Los Angeles at the big hotel by the LA airport and the big venue there. And it's really fascinating to watch when you start to observe from the point of understanding what is shifting in the community, what vibration comes in, who comes for what the purpose, and also what kind of energy is been just spread all over. So it was really interesting, not only as a vendor but also as a speaker, because I have my keynote workshop, I did a lecture, and I was part of two panels during the weekend, and I was also part of the opening ceremony. So I want to start there, if
Mhm.
that's okay with you, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I'm inviting everyone right now to take a journey with us to feel the energy of thousands of people coming together to reconnect with each other, see old friends, being able to go see, their favorite vendors, discovering new ones, attending a multitude of lectures or workshops, panels with the synergy of learning. And there was quite a bit of people there. I came across Jimmy Church, who is the famous host for Fade to Black radio show. Darryl Anka was there, Bashar, who I saw and met in person. He was there. I saw Linda Moulton Howe when I had a talk with her. It was wonderful to reconnect with Linda. They also had the crew, from Ancient Aliens, who was there to film with Linda and other people. Of course, George Nuri from Coast to Coast was there doing the famous panel on Saturday. And of course, in the evening, there was what's called the award ceremony and the talent show. And George usually hosts one or the other. And, it's just wonderful to receive with each other. And, I part of the panel with a New Earth Ascension panel with Deborah Justi. That one was phenomenal. We were able to do a powerful activation where I had a pleasure of initiating the first level of activation, and I brought to the holographic field with my delegation, and we start to implement and open through the heart center and the sacred gateways, opening that. And then every speaker on the panel will continue the activation, whether it's doing like language, whether it's to bring cosmic universal symbols. It was really amazing to see that kind of synergy. And the room was full. I mean, you're talking about maybe 300 people sitting in the audience. With There's probably 7 of us on the panel, plus the host Deborah, and then everyone contributing to an aspect of that activation was really amazing. And yes, Lisa, you're correct. I like that. It was like a composition, like an orchestra where everybody bring a tune, and then when you receive it, it forms, a melody. So personally, that was one of my favorite highlights of the expo. Is that was on Sunday. That was the last panel of the expo, and to be able to participate and to bring that frequencies and allowing everybody to ground and integrate, because when you are at these gathering, there's so much going on, so much bombardment of energy, so much different level of belief system, consciousness, variation, emotional response. It's a big melting pot of frequency that you walk through. It's like walking in a room with 50 radio tower broadcasting at different level. So when we did this activation together, it was wonderful to be able to bring everybody into a more peaceful, harmonized field, so they can integrate, they can really take on what needs, what serves them the best, and then release. It's like deflating a big balloon over the weekend. So I'm jumping into Sunday because that panel alone with the activation was quite really spectacular. And after the panel, I was walking back towards my booth, and we were on the second floor on the mezzanine level. And my team says, no, you need to keep going because there's someone you're going to meet. Someone is walking right now into the other section, and you need to talk with her. So as I'm walking, this is where I came across Linda Moulton Howe. And then I said, Linda, and she turned around and she goes, you look familiar. And I said, of course, Linda, we met so many times. She was at my presentation in San Diego last year. I did an interview with her many years ago at the Phoenix International Congress back then. We have a friend in common. So I told her, I said, well, we have this friend in common. And she goes, oh, yes. And then her face started to lit up. And then, you can tell people around her was looking at us going, okay, they seems to be okay. And we just walked together. So we talked about Contact in the Desert, and you know that we're going to be there. Peter and I will have our booth there again this year because of the launch of this film, this documentary, that the world premiere will be presented at Contact on Saturday, June 1st. And I am part of the cast. I'm part of this documentary, and we will have a Q&A with the cast and crew after the world premiere of the film, the screening. So I was telling Linda about this film. So of course she gave me her contact and want me to send her all the details because she wants to partake. And it was just these moment in what I call a moment in space and time when you connect with someone like Linda and make a significant, wonderful um, connection and says, send me the information because I want to be there. I want to be part of this world premiere. I want to see the documentary. And it just brought a lot of joy. It brought me a big smile. And when you follow your guidance, I was told you'll come back to your booth later. Right now, there's someone you need to talk to. And so it created that moment together with Linda again. And we had multitude of moments together. Last year, I did the same thing when she was walking, and I went and connected with her. But this year is to have this common project that we can talk about and the anticipation of something that's coming up, and then of course talking in the next conference in Indian Wells, California, Contact. That was pretty amazing about this. So there was just one moment that for me was worth it to be there. That brings, that kind of joy, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah. I do have a question for you.
Yes.
Um, now you go to these conferences, right? And you guys always, you always talk about energies and all this other stuff, and and the and the and the people love it. Great, but how long does that energy thing last? When you do that energy thing and the people are there and stuff and they experience it and everything is good, how long does it last? Does it last a day, week, hours?
Well, that's a great question. So it's beyond time and space, Jeff. What we're doing is that we're shifting something much more profound in the what we call the sentient field of the planet. Every time that I see people, and after time, many people will follow us at different conferences. What I have noticed is a distinctive changes in them. It's beyond a moment of joy that maybe lasts a day or 2, 3 days, and you go back to your old ways. That has nothing to do with that. What we're doing is creating significant changes that we anchor consciously in the energetic field of the planet and the grid system. So, for example, that moment with Linda was more than a moment that was fun to connect, and she smiled and I smile, and then you go about your day. What we create is planting a seed of light. It's There's a deeper soul recognition that when the next time we come across each other, the same frequency or that same energy will come back, says, oh, I remember you, not because of what we do or who we are, but I remember you. It's that imprint that created that significance moment. So it's a fantastic question, and I'm glad that you asked this because this is why we do those conferences. And I want to go back at the beginning on Friday when we did the opening ceremony because a lot of things happened. And I want just to illustrate the importance of what took place. So this year, the opening ceremony just happened to be at the same time as the Chinese New Year, welcoming the dragon, the wood dragon. It's the element is wood, and the animal is dragon. That's the symbology this year for the Chinese New Year. So we were doing the opening ceremony with one of the co-owner of Conscious Life Expo, and I was brought on stage with another gentleman, Asil, who bring the Elohim. So we have this angelic Arcturian energy on stage for the opening ceremony. And what we've done is encoding very specific seeds of light, just like my friend David is saying right now. And what we've done is already setting the pace or opening a certain vibrational field with the intention to support everyone coming to the conference. For those who come to bring their light, their teachings, those who are behind the scene, organizing all the volunteers, all the structures around the significance of this gathering. But more than that, we send out waves and waves of light throughout the entire Los Angeles, right into the ocean, to the oceanic grids. And I did that last year as well. And as a result of it, when we re enter the city to drive from Arizona to Los Angeles, even though there's still a lot of work needs to be done, mind you, but I noticed a distinct change. The year before, the level of heaviness was overwhelming, to the fact that even Master Buddha came last year and we encoded etherically in the holographic field throughout the entire city. Every corner, there was this beautiful golden lotus that Buddha put. And Buddha told me last year that the work that we were doing for the city will continue to implement and make the positive changes that it needs to be changed. So this year, I'll come back a year later in calendar year, in linear time, we're coming back to the conference, still driving the same route to go back to the venue. And even though there's a lot of still needs a lot of work, well, I see a distinct change, meaning that, for example, I'll make it very palpable. Let's say that on a scale of 1 to 10, the density was at 11 last year. Now it's down to maybe a 7.5. It's just as an image. It's not to take literal, it's just a figure of speech. But the density level was toned down and it was palpable. So we're affecting everything in the field, everything. And in fact, when I did my workshop, it was called Arcturian Journey to Sacred Sites. And it was done in a way that the audience, those who were called to come to us, we became all of us very conscious anchor of light, where it was not just about the Conscious Life Expo or LA or California. We were traveling throughout the ley lines of Mother Gaia to bring very specific encoding and recognition. So there was also teaching to understand where are we right now in this timeline that we call 2024, and how the changes that we have been generating are really palpable. And did you know, Chef, that that Friday when we did the ceremony, there was also an earthquake in LA. I think there was an earthquake elsewhere in the world, but there
Yeah.
was specifically in LA, there was an earthquake that took place.
You didn't cause that, did you?
Oh no, no,
Okay.
no. We're here to support the light. We're here to help to
Shake
evolve.
things up.
Yes, we're like a catalyst, into the point. I want to show the comments that my friend David made because it's beautiful. He said the energy of the seed of light creates more light on each visit. And next time I'll be in Stonehenge, I will receive a very powerful one too. Ah, beautiful. Thank you, David. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Thank you, Antonia. So what we do matters. This is why we do this. You have to think about, and it's truly so, it's a big jump. It's a timeline shifting. So Bridget, you're right. A lot of beautiful energy comments in the chat room, and I want to honor all of you. So we do. My team send me to these very specific events or public events with the intention to help to create that shift or that next level, and that put that in motion. So to go back to your original question, Jeff, which is fantastic, it's well, we were there to put things in motion, if that makes more sense that way. Does it make sense?
Yeah. I have another question. Kind of a
Of
stupid
course.
one, but I got another question. All this energy work you do, okay? Can you program a quartz crystal to maintain what you put out to keep going? Like
Okay, that's another beautiful question. So can I use a crystal? Do you have a crystal in mind or any type of crystal?
a quartz crystal, because we know that that oscillates.
Right. So a quartz crystal, what you can do, yes, you can harmonize your intention of the program with the quartz, but you have to ask the quartz permission. You have to work with the quartz consciousness and the archive that it contains. So I personally prefer to commune the energy, to commune with the clear quartz and ask at this point of time, can we collaborate together? It's a partnership that says if we bring, let's say, certain codes, or if we bring certain universal symbols, it can be geometric pattern configuration, it can be like language, it can be a resonance or a frequency. And we're going to ask this particular clear quartz to amplify what is been transmitted through the clear quartz and to remain at the same level of purity or integrity and to continue to resonate or to become more an antenna, if you want to call it an amplifier. But again, the way we approach this, because we do use very advanced level of etheric clear quartz that is non-existent in this reality, we always work with them in partnership. It's never forced upon the clear quartz. It has to be done in the same resonance field, so to speak.
Interesting, yeah, because I know of a quartz type cube that's at Los Alamos that they still can't figure out how the power was put into it.
Well, there's a lot of ancient crystals throughout the planet. There's some reminiscence from Atlantis, for example, just one example.
Atlantis had chairs that people would sit on, and you would get healed, and you can get whatever. You can get energy from a quartz chair.
Well, and there's a lot of these residuals throughout the planet, and I mean, if you look at just Georgia, Atlanta, that's an example of places. So again, because we becoming, and I say we in terms of the human template, the human body template is returning to a more higher frequency of luminosity, crystalline, and eventually through time and changes, the goal is to return to a more celestial human template or the original template. So just by the changes, even in your own crystalline core and the changes in your own body field, well, you can reattune yourself in the same matching frequencies. But again, if you use any one, even at home, I have my Lemuria one right here. I commune to this being as an equal. So the communication level, I'll ask to see all the archives and contains. I said, let me reveal to me, show me an aspect of what I need to know and what next level of encoding we can bring to support the new grid system or the movement of the ley lines on the planet, whether it's also into the geomagnetic field of the earth. I always work with the original wisdom and the encoding of the crystal. I don't know how you work with them, but this is an approach to how we use ours. So how do you use with the crystals?
I really don't use a crystal. I have a few, but I really don't. I really don't have a use to use them. But I have a couple, and I know that they work because uh, I know you could put a crystal on on an electric source, and you can put a crystal by like a light or a small light, and it'll absorb that light or absorb that energy, and the light will go on. But then it fades away, so it doesn't hold it that long. But there's got to be a way to keep it everlasting. Keep the oscillation going all the time, all the time, all the time. It doesn't work. I mean, my small ones wear out, and you just have to recharge them.
Well, again, as your frequency rise, remember that your crystal become attuned with you. Like for example, I have four really huge, about this size, tower of amethyst, huge amethyst, and I put on
Mhm.
each corner, four corner of my huge Giza, copper Giza pyramid that Peter made. So what I do is that all I have to do personally is I enter inside of the field of the Giza pyramid where my four big cathedral amethysts are, the guardians of each corner. I enter the field with my energy. I expand through my heart center, my own field, and I look at each and commune with each and every one of my amethyst cathedral rock. And I ask them, okay, where are we today? And all I have to do is to reattune myself, connect with them, and ask them, okay, let's bring the next level. Let's readjust or reharmonize the field. And I can tell that the consciousness of each of these cathedral sized type of amethyst stone in four corners respond to me. And the field will stay and that resonance. So if you resonate more with certain crystals, some people like Andaras or Moldavites. I love personally laboratory because it's such a high frequency. I also very big on aquamarine, Larimar, and all these very high vibrational stones. Clear quartz, they're amazing because they're great decoders and they have so many archive that we have no understanding of. So this is more the Arcturian part of me utilizing the clear quartz. But all of my crystals, I don't need to recharge them so far. Is I notice that if I fluctuates or there's fluctuation in the environment they're in, and all I have to do is to really reattune myself with them and connect to their consciousness and then becoming much more into symbiotic reconnection with it. And of course, being an Arcturian, we're big on solar frequency. So I can go outside by myself, connect with the solar connections, the solar presence. I go beyond to the great central sun, I connect. And when I come back, okay, Crystal, let's bring the solar energies and I receive it. That's because I have established a very clear, conscious connection and relationship with my crystals.
Okay, now who is the when you say that you reconnect with the crystals? This is an interesting question because there's always something else. Who is the driver? Is it you that drives the crystal, or is it the crystal that drives you?
We drive together.
No, 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 no. You can't. It's one or the other. Okay,
Mm-mm.
you can't have them both together because when you reconnect, you're either drawing from them or you're giving to them. You know what I'm saying? There has to be one's got to be more than the other.
And why is that? In your,
Um,
in your perspective, why is that?
well, case in point, when people go to Sedona, okay, and they feel great, this and that, and there's energies out there. Yeah, I know all that, but because the mountains also oscillate too. It isn't just a crystal base; it's also rocks too that have oscillations in them. Okay, and of course, the bigger the rock, the more energy it could probably hold and give away. So, and then you got this little tiny human that comes around, da, 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 and when people are drawn to the mountains because of that fact, because of the mountain is giving off those energies, vibrations, pulling the people in, and that's why people feel good about that stuff. But when you program a crystal, okay, little tiny crystal, my energy is programming the crystal because my energy is bigger than the tiny crystal, okay. But as you get going and you are matched to your crystals that you have, I would assume that the person's vibration would eventually deteriorate, whereas the hard rock crystals would keep on oscillating together more, you know. So when you would connect with your crystals, you would draw that energy from the crystal to amp yourself up so that you guys are both harmonizing together. See my point?
Well, yeah, I do see your point. It's one way to utilize it. You, in reality, Jeff, even the tiniest crystal compared to this one, you go like, whoa, big difference. Tiny and big one. They can hold the same power. It's not about their size. It's not about their hard rock. It's understanding what they represent. Even this little tiny one has so much power in it that I can feel it vibrate into my third eye. And if I really allow myself to take on a journey with this little tiny little beautiful little gray quartz, little tiny, right? In my hand.
That's my point. The quartz is higher, so you're actually being drawn to the quartz.
It's not as higher, it's what you believe of it. If I give this tiny crystal my authority that I said, this crystal is higher than I am, then I just reestablish a connection to it. It's completely opposite. I am just as powerful. but you perceive yourself as much. Same thing with Sedona. You talk about the mountains, right? You talk about people feels good. There's vortexes there, even though it's polarized. It's not
Mhm.
just positive.
Right.
There's negative and positive coexisting. Sedona is very polarized.
Right.
So you have to understand what aspect, what source are you plugging yourself in and for what purpose. In reality, the mountains have been there for a long time. Yeah, they can energize you or they can take your energy, but it's really about seeing yourself as an empowered being. We will never agree to the point that a crystal or a hard rock or a mountain is more powerful than you. Absolutely not. No. We carry the same majestic frequency. We're made of the same substance, but you recognize it as such because crystal's been there for a long time or mountain chain have been there for generations. So you perceive yourself that way. It's not how we perceive ourselves. Or you, a matter of fact. We see the same potential, the same raw, pure energy that you carry, the same atom, the same vibration. But you meaning the human race, has been thought to say, well, this is more power than you, so you have to do this. This is the authority more power than you. Remember, this is more ancient than you. But no, this is what we're here. We're here to clear that illusions. You are part of the ecosystem. You can commune with giants, a mountain. When I was to Stonehenge, Stonehenge has been there for a long time. Stonehenge is internationally recognized as a powerful site. When we enter, the first thing that the guardians did me is to greet me as an equal. They never I never felt diminished or I have to reorganize myself to match their power or I felt this boost. I felt a boost of energy. Yes. Why? Because I was reconnecting with old friends. It was more of a joyful boost of energy. But I'm still who I am. I'm still in my power. So we have different perspective on that one, my dear friend. And that's
That's what's
fine.
great about America.
What's that?
I said that is what's great about America.
Jeff, I love you so much. You are amazing. And so many people love you too in the chat room. It's just, this is what makes the Infinite Star Connection podcast unique, everyone, is you have the beautiful blend, how much Jeff and I, we bring this beautiful balance of energy and perspective and knowledge and viewpoints. It is amazing. I love it. Thank you for being you, by the way.
Okay.
No, really, really. I miss that kind of let's dive into a topic and bring different perspective and angles. So there's something for everyone. It's really to inspire everyone right now. So this is really amazing.
I just
It's
asked the
fun.
questions that the common person would want to know.
Well, I love it. And we're here to answer them. We're here to answer them. So if you would, Jeff, I'd like to share a few pictures that we took
Yeah.
at the Conscious Life Expo. That'd be okay with you?
Yeah. Well, which
Yeah.
ones?
All right, let's begin with Friday with the opening ceremony, where there's this beautiful red dragon in the background. Thank you, Simon. Simon says you two make an amazing team together. Love you both. We love you too, Simon. Directly from Glastonbury. So thank you for bringing your light as always. Oh, I like that. Vikita says, I love Jeff. He is the voice of the everyday
Every day
person.
I'm just a common clay person. Nothing, nothing different.
Yeah, and Maya, you're right. We empower ourselves. We can move mountains, everybody. Mountains. Like the Lord of the Rings. Mountain, Gandalf. Mountains. Okay, that was my little moment of. All right, so let's show some pictures here. If you would, whenever you're ready, my friend.
Yep.
Ah, thank you so much
Oh,
for tuning in every time with us from all over the world. Already. So, picture number one, everyone, some of you have already seen it. It's the image of the opening ceremony. I love the red dragon they put in the background. And I was also wearing a black and red jacket that day. So that was right when before we did the activation, Angelic and Arcturian together on the stage. It was really amazing. So that was the opening ceremony. Okay. And you can just choose anyone you want, and we'll talk about it.
okay.
Uh, the,
Let's go. Who is this guy?
Well, let's explore. Who is this guy coming up right now? Demi, we love you too. Thank you for being here. Look at this beautiful comment. All right, let's explore the next picture. Who is this guy, you ask? Ah, this is a beautiful picture. It's a bit small, but you can see it. So, this is myself, as you recognize, and the gentleman, his name is John Burgos. He is the host of Beyond the Ordinary, which is a wonderful online series, and I had the joy of being a guest multiple times, and I'll be back again in March. Many of you may know Beyond the Ordinary series, and John just happened to be in the audience on Saturday, came to talk to me, surprised completely, said that he was there during the panel on Saturday, during the ET Origin panel, and he gave me the most beautiful compliment. John said that I truly brought the panel together, and it was really wonderful to meet with them because I work with them online. I see him on Zoom when I speak to his audience, and then we do part of the summit with his show Beyond the Ordinary. He has multiple guests. I'm one of them. And to see John in person, it was such a treat. This is what I'm talking about, is you never know who you're going to meet. And that was a beautiful moment of joy. It was the first time that we got to see each other in person, and I'm going to see John in March when my next round of interviews on Beyond the Ordinary. So that was that moment. Thank you for picking that picture. So yeah, yes, it is true, Rodney. I once told you that you can affect 10,000 souls, and you still can. So it is absolutely right on. All right. What next picture are you going to select? I'm excited because I want to share with everybody. Huh? Alrighty. Oh, that's a beautiful picture too. If you can just bring it a little bit closer, that would be lovely. And it was also after the opening ceremony. Some of you recognize the Stargate there. Um, the lady with the beautiful golden scarf, her name is Shima. She's part of the co-founders of Conscious Life Expo. And you see me with my black and red jacket in honor of the Dragon New Year. And the gentleman in the middle, his name is Asil, Radi Elohim. So we were the three of us on stage doing the activation right at the opening ceremony. And it was a really powerful moment where so many people felt the synergy, felt the energy coming through. And we really set the tone, or at least a vibrational tone, to help to keep everything in the highest frequency possible and to really help to elevate the frequency so that people can have a very empowering time and be able to learn and only extract what they need the most. So
What's that thing on the table again?
that's a structure. It's called a Stargate. It's part of the Stargate network with Pragit and Julian. So it's a replica of this Stargate structure that Shima brought with her, so we can have it next to us when we were doing the activation. So
Oh,
it's a structure. Yeah, it's called the Stargate. It was really a pleasure to be part of the opening ceremony this year. It was my first time. I really enjoyed it. You have a picture, maybe the one with Peter at a boot with Jimmy, if you would, Jeff, my friend.
hmm.
Well, I want to say again, thank you for being here. Leslie, your first time, welcome from Canada. That's awesome. And thank you for being here. All right, next picture, everyone. Ah, you may recognize that's my Peter, my husband, and with Jimmy Church, who is the famous host from Fade to Black. In fact, Fade to Black has a tour coming up this year, and Jimmy and his crew are coming to Scottsdale, Arizona for a wonderful Fade to Black live event. I am one of the speakers, with Nick Pope uh, and other beautiful speakers talking about, the 1997 sighting, in the UFO Phoenix sighting. Nick Polk will talk about probably his experience. I will be presenting with my delegation, and so it's going to be wonderful. But right now, Jimmy stopped by the booth, and he just loved what Peter creates. His really powerful pendant. And every time we come across Jimmy, he always comes say hello, shake Peter's hand. They have a good time, as you can see. There was a lot of energy. You can see the Nubian pyramid, copper pyramid in the background with all the tensor ring around the pyramid to accelerate the energy, magnify. We were like broadcasting frequencies of light throughout the entire weekend just from our booth alone. So that was really fun to see Jimmy Church from Fade to Black to come and spend a moment with Peter. And what you are pointing at, there was a rose quartz ball in the middle of a copper Merkaba. The Merkaba is all handmade. Peter makes all of his tool himself. So there was this copper Merkaba with the rose quartz right um, right in the middle, and you can see all the rings or tensor field or tensor ring around the top of the Nubian pyramid, which when you sit inside becomes an interdimensional chamber and amplify, magnify the positive spiral of energetic transmission into the body and into the person's field. We had so many people sitting in our copper pyramid all weekend long to rejuvenate, balance, ground, clear themselves, and feeling more refreshed so they can enjoy the conference on a whole different level. So we bring the copper pyramid pretty much everywhere we go, and we're going to bring it again at Contact in the Desert. So definitely come see us at our booth if you're going to be there. So that was a really fun moment. You can see my husband giggling, and Jimmy goes, "Look at this tool. I can feel it." He was very into it. So that was a really beautiful moment. So as you can see, that's part of the reason why we do these events. It's helping people, it's guiding them, it's just giving them a moment of reprieve where they can sit with us or enjoy these powerful, organic, natural tool, very highly conductive to refresh. And believe me, when you come across thousands of people in one conference, you need that time of grounding, rejuvenation, balance. And this is part of what we do, what we offer. So thank you for showing that picture. That was quite amazing. Jeff, thank you for that.
Wait a minute. Let's go to this one.
Okay, yeah, we have another one. I shared with Jeff a few pictures that I took, even though I was super busy at the conference, but it's always fun to bring. Hello, Nathalie. Bonjour. Thank you for joining us. Paul, good to see you. Holly, I'm glad that you're here as well. Already. Oh, you're gonna love this one. All right, so that's the entrance to our booth. As you can see, this is one of my official banner. That picture of my Arcturian avatar self is a depiction created by an artist in Germany. And this beautiful artist commune, and I gave her permission to connect with my Arcturian self. And I told her, I said, create a much faithful depiction as you can, according to your capacity to see us. And she created this image. It's very vibrant, it's very inviting, and it's that was right at the entrance of our booth, and behind you can see a better angle of our Nubian copper pyramid that we utilize a lot in conferences, gathering, retreats to help people heal, receive the energy, and to be able to feel um, very powerful. So the copper pyramid is very different from the Stargate. It's two completely different structures. Peter, my husband, makes all of them. He's very precise with the angles. You receive a lot of archangel and angelic codes transmission, and the way it create a really, really precise how it manifests and create the tensor field that amplify the quality of the Nubian copper pyramid. So it really is amazing, and you can feel it. I'm going to invite you for a moment just to feel, imagine yourself. Can you visualize yourself inside of the pyramid? Imagine this. You're sitting right now on the chair right in the center of the Nubian pyramid with the Merkaba with the rose quartz. You have a series of tensor field creating a beautiful spiral of light transmission, and the pyramid itself, through its angle, is designed to amplify that transmission. Can you already feel that? Can you also receive the energy? Can you feel that, Jeff?
Yeah, I got a question. How can we call it Nubian? Why not just a pyramid?
Because it's a great question. It is a Nubian because it is based literally on the Nubian pyramid in Egypt. It is a replica of the same synergy or the same vibration of a Nubian. It has different purpose versus those who utilize copper pyramids. You know what I speak of. You have the
Yeah,
Nubian.
it's
You
like
have
it's a little bit more elongated
yes,
than
yes,
wider.
yes. It is much taller. It's about 7 feet tall, right? Just about 4 or 5 feet wide. The Nubian is much more condensed. It's like laser precise. That's why I love to use them in conference because it's super precise and it's really facilitate a short level of transmission. It's very effective. It works really great with your third eye. It works with your field on a much more effective level. The Giza, it's beautiful. It's more heart center. It offer a complete different experience. I have the Giza at home in my eating room, but in conference we use the Nubian. It's very precise chamber. It's really wonderful. Yeah, and I love the beautiful Arcturian image too. It brings so much of our luminosity, our essence, our presence, so much. And so many people have been drawn to my banner all weekend long. Again, it's a way to connect with you. It's a way to, establish that nonverbal, more energetic connection, invitation. Very powerful. So imagining the powerful presence of the Arcturian plus the energetic tools that Peter works with, the angelic realm, the presence of the archangels. It is quite a combination. So thank you, Nelly. What's really beautiful, powerful
Is
message.
this language here of the Arcturians? Is it symbols or what? Because I know that they don't have a writing language, but
Well, it is my understanding, Jeff, that any advanced or any intergalactic civilization has a language of their own. They do
yeah.
have the form, as we know. So there are some symbols there too. That also, it's think of it as the more light codes activations that comes from our delegation. So it's more in that sense, more light codes activation that is depicted around in the golden arch of the picture as opposed to my logo behind me. This is direct, more light language.
Hmm.
So it's a different form of communication for sure.
Yeah,
As
I think that this is a really good representation of an Arcturian versus the blue skin typical. I think that one is pretty close to the mark.
well, thank you for pointing out. There's some aspect that will need to be retouched, like the eyes or things like that. It's more of a human interpretation. Well, I would say overall, the picture looks a little bit darker than it is in person, so it has more of a beautiful translucent, very bright energy that has we can what we do is that we utilize the blue light frequency as a hue that we transmit into our light body like an emanation. But in terms of proportion or presence, I would say it's a very one of the closest I've seen compared to
Yeah.
all the things I've seen online. And people, Octurans, We don't have elvish ears. We're not the galactic elvens. I know some people at conference were talking about the Arcturians as purple with elvish ears, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we're not the galactic elvens. They're beautiful beings, but we're a different race. We're not the elves. We don't have pointed ears like Lord of the Rings and the elves. But you look at the energy, look at the presence behind it. Um, Yes. Oh, thank you for saying that. That Peter's aura is out of this world, very radiant and pure. Thank you so much. Um, so, in my original Arcturian form, I'm just about, I would say, between 12 and 15 feet tall. I would say more, yeah, at least about that range. We're very tall beings, very beautiful, tall, and lanky. When father comes, you can tell I kind of prick my head, my neck all the way up because they're very tall. In fact, they come in the ceiling. It's just enough for them to come in. It's ethereal anyway. It's pure energy, but we're very tall beings.
Yeah, when I seen your dad and your team, they pretty much swayed instead of walking like what we do. They just
Which
like
what?
you just like glide.
Yeah, yeah, yes. It's gliding. It's a good way to say it. It's the same thing in the ship. Because we're so much more lighter. Yeah, at least we're so much lighter that we don't walk here. Here it's this thing you can feel your spine and the hips and the movement and the muscles. There's a relationship to the gravity of the earth and the way the human body walks. And it takes a lot of energy, but for us it will feel more like we're gliding because technically we're more ethereal than
Hmm?
physical. Well, at least to you, it would seem that way. That's because we vibrate at such a high frequency. And so our body is on a whole different level. Ah, it brings me home. That
Huh.
nourishment for my soul. Ah, thank you so much, everyone. We love you too. Thank you for being here. Teddy, Maddie, thank you for being here. Beautiful comments here by Cosmic Alchemists that you got to meet us at conferences and to feel that even Peter's aura is out of this world. Thank you so much because he's a very humble gentleman, and yet he has this presence, this magnificence about him. Um, and yes, eventually our goal is to the team will be able to make themselves more visible. Oh, that's a beautiful picture. Bear with us. That's Peter and I. And that's when I say my husband Peter, this is him. Uh, Jeff is my really dear friend and co-host, and Peter is my husband. So sometimes Jeff, people think that you're my husband.
Oh,
So,
there's no way. There's no way. There's no absolutely no way.
well, thank you. This is so great, everyone. The Infinite Star Connections. We're telling you things the way they are.
No, you would not like the way I live.
Well, Peter is my husband, so we're all set. But
Perfect.
that's a beautiful. Well, we understand each other, and we still love each other in a different way. It's perfect. It's great friendship. Um, you better say yes on that one, though, for friendship.
Of course. Absolutely. I
Oh,
definitely don't want to get your dad mad at me. That's for sure.
oh yes, yes. Well, when my Arcturian father comes, he has such a presence about him. I love this picture of Peter and I that was taken right at our booth behind Peter's banner. And we don't get to have that many pictures of us because we're so busy being of service to others. We're here to really support everybody and each other. And I think that it's a really beautiful capture of our presence together, him and I. And I think that was taken on Friday because I had my jacket from the opening ceremony. But
That's an awesome jacket. It's
thank
bad
you,
as hell.
thank you. That was purchased on the Pyramid Collections, everyone. So, ladies who are watching right now, the pyramidcollections.com. It's a great site, very original. Yeah, here we go. So thank you for sharing this picture. I want to share some picture about what took place so you can feel the energy. We want to share with you. We are very generous with our sharing, and this is something that's unique also to us. Thank you for the pictures. You are very welcome. Savi, she goes like, "Why? No way. She's a beautiful being." Well, thank you, Savi. A beautiful couple. Thank you for of the compliment. And yes, beautiful is also part of who you are. There was one more picture when I was on the podium of my workshop, if you would, my dear friend.
I do not have that one.
Yes, I did send it to you, but it's quite all right. No worries.
Hang on, let me check. Let me check.
Yes. One one thing also I want to observe in terms of the shifting in the dark polarity field is that Friday the energy was very high. We reached a peak of light, and on Saturday we were hit pretty hard. So I want to bring back a little bit of background. Many of you know or may remember that last year in September, which is not that far ago, that I was in Egypt with my husband and the Stargate network. And there's a lot of activation has been done in Egypt to many sacred sites, including the Sphinx, and the reactivation of the Guardians, and also
Ah,
the the original library. So what happened is that during my workshop on Saturday, everything was going very, very well until we reached Egypt, and then we got hit by a really disruptive energies of anger and from the dark light polarity. So we got hit really, really hard to the point that my Egyptian ring that I had on my finger broke, was damaged. There's a portion of the ring was ripped off of it right on my finger when I was wearing it. So, and you would say, but what is the meaning of this? It's just to show all of us that what we do, all the frequency, the healing, the implementation of light, and everything that we do makes such a huge impact that what we co-create in Egypt multiple months ago, we still feel the ripple effect to this day. That's just it's just an analogy. So this picture was taken by Laura, one of our members of our Universal Arcturian online community on Patreon. Laura was there with her son Sam, and she was taking pictures for me, which I'm very grateful to you, Laura, again. And this picture was taken right at the beginning of my workshop called the Arcturian Journey to Sacred Sites. And we talk about Glastonbury, Stonehenge. We talk about Avebury and the Circle of Stones. We showed so many pictures. Everything was moving really well. Costa Rica, the energy of the blue zone. And when we arrive in Egypt, and I start to talk about the decoding of certain site where on the walls my galactic memories start to get reactivated, and I could read, literally decode what was depicting. And there was one wall in particular where you can see clearly intergalactic groups debating the fate of humanity. And one group want to enslave human beings, and the other group was saying, no, we're going to educate them, we're going to teach them, we're going to show them the pathway to their enlightenment. And you can tell it's all written on that wall. And somebody took a video of me talking about it as I was in that trance of memories coming back to me. Ironically, during this workshop, as I was talking about this is where there's a big wave that hit us in the room. My ring got broken right on my finger. It is damaged. I'm not able to wear it anymore until it's repaired. And when I can hear being coming to me and says, we're still angry with you for what you've done in Egypt because we stirred the pot, we changed the paradigm, we move mountains together, we create so much powerful catalyst of changes. And when we were talking about this during the workshop, it came and it hit us very, very hard. And that was for me a validation of what we do truly matters. So that comes back to the original question you asked me originally, Jeff, when you said, well, how long does it last?
mm-hmm.
It's endless. The ripple effect are endless. So Yes, and Mary, you were there too. That's incredible. So this was a beautiful picture right there at the beginning. I had a beautiful room. So many amazing people came to the workshop. I was so honored to be there. But it shows that we are still oscillating between the pendulum swing is still really predominant. We can feel all of it. Um, do you get any feedback from your Ponte group about the changes, or do you feel like this pendulum swing movement going on right now, or anything you would like to share, Jeff?
Well, this past week, the the Ponte have been really super active in my house. I mean, when I say active, I mean yeah, there I can see wisps and columns of wisps now more and more. And it was I think it was Friday night. Um, I'm watching TV, no big thing, and out of the corner of my eye, you can always see stuff out of the corner of your eye because you can see in another dimension from your whites of your eye. Okay, no big thing. But I thought I saw Tilcom. So then I looked and I focused on him, and there he was again. We were just like, walking, and we walked through the couch and walked right in front of the TV. And I'm looking at the TV, and I can see the distortion when he was walked through. So I know he was there. I'm like, dude, don't stand in front of the TV. I don't care where you're at, but don't block my TV. But we actually, yeah, we had some stuff happen last night, so we're trying to figure that out right now. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
well, I'm glad you're saying that because there's a message, or there's a question for you that I think it's tied up with all of this, what you just shared, Jeff. David, our dear friend David, that we both know, says, he wonder if you have recently realized or received a further message given to you since you were healed, or any form of download unfolding since you recovered so well and you were healed.
the only thing I could say that I'm more calmer as far as explaining myself and understanding the acceptance of value of what you perceive is a lot more clearer, and uh, I don't rush to judge right away. I always look at everything with discernment and take it in stride. But it actually slowed me down a little bit. So I think that's the answer that he's looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be an ongoing process for you. I think it's just the beginning, talking about slowing down, maybe a growing sense of introspective observation, internal changes. And I think this is just the beginning. So
Yeah,
there was an
clarity,
excellent
clarity
question.
through calm. Perfect.
Yeah.
Exactly my point.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Thank you, David. I'll show that for everybody. Clarity through calm. And that's going to be very important for all of us. Clarity to calm. Yes. And absolutely. Do you have any more project with the Ponte in terms of either another coloring books or anything like that? Because there's someone mentioning the Ponte coloring books that they are amazing. Love the energy there. Is there anything that they may have shared with you, or a glimpse of something that you may want to do with them or bring?
What Sarah keeps, and I don't know why, but Sarah seems to be my liaison now more and more. It is a lot less Tilcom, a lot less Giroudi, but more Sarah, and she's been explaining a lot of earthbound um, opinions. That's what they want for the most part, is just they want that second paper done. I'm like, yeah, I just gotta put it together. Got all the stuff written down, I just have to organize it in the flow of how I want it to, um, for the people to see. And but she's still working me with all that, so it shouldn't take much longer. I just have to get to it. I just this UMO stuff this UMO stuff has got me to the wall, because there seems to be some sort of haste to get this done for a reason. I have no idea, but it's just like when your dad, when UMO wants something done, man, they are relentless. You know, got to get it done. Got to get it done. It's like I'm working for somebody else. What the, geez, I'll get it. But, when I get going, it's like 4 or 5 hours pass like that, and you just get into this consciousness. Maybe that's what it could be too. When you guys have these Conscious Life Expo, do you guys talk about shared consciousness?
Well, there's a lot of topic that is called. So share consciousness, depending of what it means to you. There's a lot of different topics that is brought from different perspective. So if you sit in a room and you're listening to a panel or a lecture, for example, where you are sharing the shared consciousness with those you are sitting with. And I'll tell you, I saw something when during the workshop on Saturday, the Arcturian Journey to Sacred Site, there was one of the slide I shared where we were inside of Merlin Cave in Tintagel Castle in England. So we went down onto the beach and we enter, there was a group of us entering Merlin Cave. And when this slide or this picture came on the screen talking about the archetype of Merlin and what Merlin represent and how we were able to commune with this aspect of Merlin where we were inside of the cave, that created a different, I would say, share consciousness or share experience in the room. This is where we really came more as a unified field. This is where people were really coming together. And what we did is we did an activation to bring in the archetype of Merlin and to recalibrate the sacred aspect of the divine masculine and sacred knowledge to come back through. And I will feel that will be an experience, or I mean, an example of a shared field of consciousness that we were all together. That really brought everybody together. It can be also the opposite, where sometimes I hear people talking or giving different lectures or projecting different energy, and it doesn't create a unified field or a shared. It creates more fragmentation or doubts or scarcity or different type of movement. And that was a good way to bring that example of what I witnessed into a shared or what it's fragmented.
Mm-hmm.
And you will see that it depends on who creates what, for what purpose, what intention was behind it, what is the frequencies. And of course, there's a way to, as a presenter, to bring a group, even though everybody has different state of awareness, presence, filters, interpretation, all of it, you can still bring your group into a more unified way. We always do that with any presentation we do. So what does it mean to you, shared consciousness? What does it mean to you?
Well, that's what I call it. I don't exactly know what it is. That's the closest that I can come to, is that when I'm working, as an example, when I'm working with the Ponte, I mean, they're all around. They're walking around, and there is no shared consciousness with them. They just send me images a lot of stuff when they want to communicate. They don't talk or anything like that. They just show me images. So then I have to interpret those, which is I got pretty used to doing that, and I kind of know what they're talking about. But with the UMO, it's a little different. Um, the closest I can describe it is I get into a mental zone where when I start reading this stuff, at the beginning it really doesn't make any sense. It's like, God, what the hell are they talking about? But then after a short time, it's like I get it. And then if I have a question, like, what does he mean by that? Then there would be like an answer that would come, and I would translate it. Then, but um, but I but they don't walk around like the pine tree do. They're just like they're in like a certain pocket, and they would go around the room. Sometimes there's a yellow light. A lot of times there's a yellow light, but I would just I would just would think that that would be is how they would share consciousness, or not maybe even consciousness, but some sort of knowledge bubble or something like that, some sort of connection with them. And I know that they're probably someplace else on the earth, but that's the closest. I don't think maybe a shared conscious is kind of too broad of a term, you know, not knowing exactly what it's called.
Well, I think you're up to something really good here because when they communicate with you, you're becoming more into symbiotic, I would say, a shared field of communication where their thoughts or their intention is conveyed to you. You receive them clearly and then you interpret them through the symbology. You will interpret them either in through of recognition, thought, sensation, emotion, or verbal communication. But they're definitely in that symbiotic. We call that holography telepathic field where we convey an aspect of our essence with each other. And it's so much more effective because everything is conveyed exactly as it is. There's no filtering system through, language and interpretation or linguistic misunderstanding and all of it. You can really feel that what is conveyed is like a speed of thoughts and
Mhm.
it's very effective. So I would say that you're experiencing something similar, but it's very unique between the connection and the symbiotic connection between you and your group. So it can be considered as an umbrella of a term set a shared consciousness when you are exchanging thought forms, intention, vibrational transmission. So it's the same thing when you're sitting in a room like at a lecture. I did a lecture at a Conscious Life Expo on Sunday, and the room was so packed, but they gave me a smaller room. But the room was overcrowded and people were still wanting to come in. But I knew that at that moment when we start to share and we're talking about how the human template is evolving into a higher frequency and the transmission that we did, it was a form of sharing an aspect of our essence, our knowledge, as we're transmitting into everyone's consciousness in the room. But we have to bring the room into a more unified field, because if you sit in front of, let's say, 50 people, let's just say, and everybody has a different level. Some people are, mentally preoccupied. There's nervousness, stress. They're overloaded because the conference is so much. Or some of them are really open. Others are more fearful. If you start a transmission that way, the level of receptivity will differ to each people. Some energy will be bounced off, and others will be coming through their field depending on what they need. Ah,
Yeah, because I asked Sarah, I said, why are you guys coming to me? You know, she said that they do this all the time to everybody, but most people don't acknowledge it, don't accept it, and they just blow it off. Well, she didn't say blow it off, but you know what I'm saying. That they ignore it and they just go on with their lives. She said, but you're different. I said, well, great, just what I need, But
yes, that's a compliment.
I mean, it's cool, but it can be a pain in the ass too. And
What's
always
the
in the
perspective?
spot, where I don't want, it's just like, they're everywhere. I mean, even if I go to the store, it's like, oh my God, you guys, now I know why people say, oh, that person's crazy. Because I am that type, I could perceive them. And once they know that you can do that, they come to you all the time.
Well, but Jeff, realize that you're one of them. Of
Yeah.
course, you can see them and communicate with them. They will be with you. They are assigned with you to your Earth mission. So that's implied in your case. I mean, that's the first thing that your group told me when we first met many years ago. Please understand, he's one of us. Yeah, I said, I respect that. So of course they will be with you. It's I personally
Yeah, I
love
know.
it.
And they're okay. It's just that they just got to stand in front of the TV and like guys, you're blocking the hockey game. Move.
Oh, well, see, that's why you and I were so much a good balance because my group just stay with me. And
Stay
they,
at the ceiling or stay up at the top. Don't stand in front of me. I don't care.
well, but they're very curious. They want to inquisite the energy. They want to understand what is this, square thing that you watch so much. What what
Yeah.
what is that thing? What does it feel?
Why is that thing
And
blinking so fast and you can't see that?
well, let's bring one more thing. Today has been amazing. It went at the speed of a thought. We've been talking about the Conscious Life Expo, showing pictures, experiences. We've been exploring consciousness. We've been exploring a multitude of topics. There's one more question, and I would be curious to see what your group and you, Jeff, have to say. Who do you think the angels are, according to you?
Angels?
Yes, angels.
I don't believe in angels. I believe in um, different types of energy beings. If that's what you call an angel, that's fine. But I do know that an energy will present itself to you and become a form that you are accustomed to seeing. So if somebody says, I seen an angel, well, it's probably an energy force coming that to you they perceive as an angel so that you're not afraid or more or less. So, but there are different types of energies all around.
Hmm.
So you could say that there's different angels all around.
Yes.
I hope that answers the question. But
Thank you.
the question meant an angel like in the Bible. Well, that's not how I see them. You know, I have not seen an angel with wings floating above with a gown, blowing a horn. I haven't seen nothing like that.
Mm. No, they're beautiful. They're part of creation, like we are, which is a different frequency, a different presence, a different. They're magnificent. I love them, and it's just think of it as another layer of creation that communicate with us. But I know there's a lot of perception on this planet based on cultural background and programming and all of it. But when you invite any form of higher consciousness, remember it's an invitation of the heart. It's an invitation to higher consciousness communicate with higher consciousness.
I
It's
mean, you,
light communicating with light.
I mean, you could say that a Ponte is an angel. It just your perception of what an angel is. All I know is that there's energies all around, floating. I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, but they're always are in motion.
Well,
Just if you can pick up on it, then you can see it.
I see what your point, though. I see your point. I will simply add to this that there's a distinction between intergalactic beings and angel, but at the same time,
Hmm.
it's just a matter of, it's hard to explain. It's just a matter of next level of evolution, like purpose, every level. Because I see personally angelic beings every time we have any intergalactic council or meeting, there's always a presence and omnipresence of another level of creation that is present. Whether you call them angelic beings, we have other ways to see them, but there is this omnipresence, and it's magnificent, and we welcome them just like we welcome you. So we want to thank you so much for tuning in, whether you are an angelic being, a star seed, an earth human, and a galactic elven, galactic elements. Whoever you are, we all part of the creation. We all part of the same beautiful creator substance. And we're coming back together more and more into a higher understanding and rediscovering of who we are. Thank you for being you. Yes, all is light. We are
All
made of
is
the
light,
light.
all is energy. Correct.
All is energy, all is light. We'll see you back on Sunday, March 3rd, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll be back here. Actually, my correction, on Sunday, March 3rd, it will
Ah,
be 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Mountain Time and noon time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We're just going to be an hour earlier on Sunday, March 3rd. We have a wonderful guest coming. You'll see. We'll make all the announcement. Thank you for taking the journey. Stay in your light, everyone. And we love the galactic fairies. We love the consciousness of planets, stars, and stay in your light. No fear, just in your light. And we continue to grow, expand, and explore with a touch of laughter, thanks to Jeff. So
ah.
thank you, my friend. You're amazing. Much love to you, and we will see you on the 3rd of March at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Namaste, everyone.